Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another Minecraft discussion on this glorious morning in northern Vermont. For me, it's just great. Humidity broke a little bit too. I'm not like super heat sensitive, really, but it was certainly wasn't Disney World hot. Holy Toledo! But anyway, it's gorgeous today. It's absolutely beautiful. Wildflowers out and all that. So my name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am elated, honored, and just ecstatic to be here with you on this glorious morning. You know what I'm realizing that the wildflowers are taller than I am. Like, just think about that. There's some over there that are even taller than these are. Wow. Okay, so I would like to chat with you about, we've been talking about The Awakened Brain and Lisa Miller's amazing book, which a couple of friends of mine strongly suggested that I read, and I listen to that. I get suggestions from people and I write them all down because I can't always do it at that minute. My students actually are great for giving me, inspiring me with different things and YouTubes and whatever. But anyway, The Awakened Brain by Lisa Miller is incredible because it's all about that we are wired for spirituality. I'm not going to do like a repeat. This is just like a little small recap to work into like the awakened heart, okay? So we talked about it. We are actually wired. So she took a look at the cortex of the brain, which again, there's one. There's our visual right there. Oh, it's kind of covered in green. But anyway, the bark of a tree. So the cortex of the brain is like the bark of a tree. So when it's thick, it's good. Thick is good, especially in the front where all of our higher reasoning processes are, which is your judgment and reasoning and decision-making and planning and all that kind of thing. Not just planning like I'd like to be a doctor when I grow up, or planning a wedding. It's also like planning taco night and also some personality stuff and whatever. But when the cortex is thick, that's good. That's really good. When it's thin, not good. All right. So as mentioned just quickly from the last one, is Lisa Miller and her research team. This was found before that too, but they just kind of added a lot to it when they get to the spirituality piece. But we know that depression causes brain changes. It causes structural brain changes, and it actually can thin out the cortex. So this is what she found again. And here's the thing, is when they measure people with high risk of depression, medium risk, and low risk, and whatever, those who had reported that they gave spirituality an importance, high importance, there was some protection. I'm talking about structural brain protection against depression for many of the people who talked about this enriched spiritual inner life. There was a protective thing going on in the brain. So specifically in the back here, we have the occipital cortex, which is for vision. And then the parietal is like that bald spot, like Friar Tuck, in Robin Hood, that circle here, which is about, I'll say hi, G, about spatial. We kind of live spatially there, like parallel parking, for example, back in and back, and not clipping the person in front or behind you. And also the parietal cortex and the precuneus, which is within the parietal lobe, is also how we reflect. One of the places we reflect, actually, because there are some other things that contribute to that. One of the places that we reflect, which means we're reflecting on our own inner life, our own self, and how we connect to all of this, our place in the world, the big picture, sort of interpreting and perceiving and interpreting, orienting ourselves into the external world that is our reality. So this is huge. So those with the higher spiritual importance and rich spiritual lives, we're much better able to do this. Whereas that stuff gets shut down when depression manifests. So the protective thing is huge. So then now we're going to kind of leapfrog. Ooh, I just made a funny because we're by a pond. There are like a million frogs here. Sounds like a Budweiser commercial. Leapfrog into sort of the awakened heart, I guess, where she talks, Lisa Miller's book. And again, I'm also bringing in other stuff from other people. We'll get to that in a second. But the awakened heart. And also, she took it a step further with the research. She wanted to get, sort of come up with 5 phenotypes about, spirituality that were kind of universal. And I'm obviously not reading this in front of me. So really, for our purposes, we're only interested in the first 2 anyway. The first 2 are altruism and love of self. Oh, wait, altruism is first. And then love of your neighbor as a self. Those are the first, those are the top two that she found to be like kind of like ubiquitous across whatever. It can be, we're not talking about religion, but you can make it that if you want. But for spirituality, those two are the, seem to be ultra protective against depression. So it means, you know, the service to other people, loving others as ourselves, meaning love is a verb, okay, not just a feeling, and I feel for them. No, it means like getting up and doing something, right? And altruism, same thing. The idea is not for me to be preachy because I'm not even into that, and people don't even like people like that. At least I don't really care for people like that. I should say I don't care for the behavior. Separate person from behavior, right? I don't like that particular behavior. So I'm just giving you the straight up facts here because Lisa Miller and her team found it on brain scans because there's something about being of service to others, othering is a verb, that protects hugely against depression, hugely. And so Gandhi said this, he's like, if you're feeling blue, get out and do something for somebody, very paraphrased. Viktor Frankl, my very favorite psychologist, also I'm a big fan of Abraham Maslow, but Viktor Frankl, of course, who survived the concentration camps, you know, one of his main themes and his main life's work, like with logotherapy and things like that, were that without meaning, without a sense of meaning and purpose, it's a straight road to depression, And, you know, so many other people talk about this. Abraham Maslow, my other fave, you know, his pyramid, her hierarchy of needs. The second to the top is self-actualization. That's just kind of like figuring ourselves out, where, you know, signature strengths, where I fit in this world also. But the top one was self-transcendence, meaning getting past, even though the self-actualization is what we're striving for, right? There's actually a step past that, which is what's bigger than the self, to strive for something and how we contribute to something bigger than the self. So we're talking about, with the spirituality thing, again, not related to religion, though you can do that, is believing in a higher power. That's like numero uno, right? And source, universe, whatever you want to say, but that there's a creator of all things that's bigger than us. And just think of it, it takes the pressure off. It takes the pressure off. That's not on here. You know what I mean? And also that we are part of this divinity, this ultra, like this infinite intelligence and loving being, that we are all connected. We are all connected, you know, together. That's what we're talking about. So the altruism thing, the doing things for other people, the loving the neighbor is ourselves thing kind of fits together with that. As from a depression standpoint, think about it. It's pulling us out of our own heads. And that's what, and I've talked about it before on these and these episodes. And Lisa Miller just kind of affirmed what I already believed, to be truthful with you, is it's a lonely place in the cabeza. So when we get all like in that spiral, that downward cycle, that black hole of depression, and obviously it's more complicated than this, okay, I'm not saying that, though this is a huge part of it, is that's isolating and it disconnects us when we're all trapped in our heads. And so when we can, you know, get out of ourselves to do things for other people, what we do for them, we do for us. And she and her research team found that that's exactly what happened. That when people got out of themselves and did all kinds of service stuff and had this altruistic thing that she could see in the brain, okay, and all the bonding parts started lighting up. Remember, fMRIs track movement because the most active parts of the brain obviously consume more oxygen, and then like the fire colors all show up. The parts of the brain that are about bonding were all lighting up too. So she calls it relational spirituality, and what a huge protector against depression symptoms. Huge protector. Those who had were high risk for depression, but also had the high spirituality. It really made a gigantic difference. And so I want to just say lastly, as far as, success, I've done a few episodes on success. And, for me, Oprah, my good friend Oprah, I love her. She just doesn't know. She talks about this too, that, so does Brene Brown and some other, I'm trying to say boundaries and stuff. So success for me is being your best authentic self without any kind of need, like living in your frame, living in my frame, and put it this way, not looking for external approval, being able to set boundaries without feeling guilty, be able to say no without feeling guilty, doing the backstroke and authenticity, living my highest vibe self. And another way to measure success, because we're including, it's an add, not subtract situation. Including success being measurable based on, how we have touched the lives of other people, even if it's this much, right? Measuring our success of how we have been of service, what we've contributed to the world. Look at it however you want. But it's about, getting up and doing stuff, even if it's this big. And I think even Mother Teresa, I'm throwing around a lot of good thinkers today. Mother Teresa said something very paraphrased. We can do no great things, only small things with great love. And the idea is not to be preachy. Talking about the brain, okay? If you want all those fire colors to light up around all those important parts, we want to get out and do something for somebody. And othering is a verb. The awakened heart follows the awakened brain. Thoughts first, feelings second. It all fits. The foundation of Minecraft fits with Lisa Miller's book too. Yay. Othering is a verb. All right. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful Northern Vermont with little G. Have a mindful day.